When God turns your pain into purpose. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French, and I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Amanda Coleman, a woman whose story will shake you, break you open, and then rebuild you from the inside out. Amanda is living proof that your deepest pain is not proof that God forgot you. It's often the raw material of your purpose. She's a warrior who has walked through the fire of losing her mother, living in a shelter with her two small children, battling addiction, and navigating unprocessed grief. And she's come out on the other side, not just surviving, but thriving and serving. Amanda Coleman is making the world a better place by showing us that healing is not optional if you want to walk in your purpose, and that your story, your scars, your survival is someone else's survival guide. So let me be loud and blunt with you right now. If you're sitting here thinking your pain disqualifies you from purpose, you're wrong. If you believe that because you've been broken, you can't be used, you're wrong. And if you think God can't turn the ugliest chapter of your life into the most powerful platform you'll ever stand on, you're dead wrong. Amanda Coleman's insights today are going to challenge every lie you've been telling yourself about your worth, your calling, and your future. Let's start here. Your deepest pain is not proof that God forgot you. It's often the raw material of your purpose. Losing a parent, battling addiction, being in a shelter with your babies, that is hell on earth. But it is not the end of your story. God doesn't waste wounds. The very thing that tried to break you is often the thing he uses to build the assignment on your life. Amanda shared with me that in her darkest moments, when she was numbing the grief with substances, when she was trying to hold it together for her children while living in a shelter, she felt forgotten. She felt like God had turned his back. But what she learned and what she wants you to know is that God was not absent. He was preparing her. He was allowing her to walk through the fire so she could later lead others out of it. And you know what? She's not alone in this. Think about Sarah Jakes Roberts. At 13 years old, she became pregnant in one of the most visible Christian families in the world. The shame was public, the judgment was loud. She went through divorce and depression and had years of feeling disqualified from ministry and purpose. The church whispered, the world watched, and Sarah, she wanted to disappear. She tried to blend into regular life, working corporate jobs, staying off the spiritual front lines because she felt unworthy. She carried the weight of that shame like a second skin, convinced that God couldn't possibly use someone who had messed up so publicly, so young. But here's the thing about God, he doesn't see our mistakes the way we do. He sees the assignment buried beneath the ashes. Sarah began to do something radical. She started telling the truth, not the sanitized, dusty, as a church friendly version of her story, but the raw, messy, painful truth. She shared her pain publicly in sermons, in books, and in conferences, uh, framing it through the lens of God's grace. She went to therapy. She sought spiritual mentorship. She surrounded herself with intentional community to process her trauma and rebuild her sense of self. And then she launched Woman Evolve, a global movement that helps women confront their own pain and evolve rather than stay locked in shame. Today, Sarah's conferences sell out arenas, her books change lives, her vulnerability about teen motherhood, shame, and healing has normalized conversations about trauma, mental health, and identity for Black Christian women and beyond. Woman Evolve has inspired countless women to confront generational cycles, heal, and step into leadership and entrepreneurship rooted in purpose rather than perfection. Sarah's entire ministry is built on how God repurposed her early pain into a global calling. She didn't hide her story, she didn't pretend it didn't happen. She let God turn her most embarrassing, painful chapters into the platform for her purpose. That's what Amanda Coleman is doing. That's what you're being called to do. Stop hiding your pain. Stop pretending you're fine. God can't transform pain you keep denying. Purpose becomes clear when you get radically honest about your trauma and let Him into it. Here's the second truth Amanda wants you to walk away with today. Healing is not optional if you want to walk in your purpose. You must face what you've been running from, skipping grief, numbing out with addiction, pretending you're fine. It only buries the pain alive. And buried pain doesn't die, it festers. It leaks into your relationships, your parenting, your work, your peace. Amanda told me that for years, she avoided her grief. She didn't have time to fall apart. She had babies to feed. She had a life to rebuild. But avoidance is not healing. Avoidance is survival, and survival mode will keep you stuck. Let me tell you about Marshawn Evans Daniels. Marshawn was a former attorney, a Miss America finalist, a sports and entertainment lawyer, and 6 days before her wedding, her fiance confessed to cheating. 6 days. The invitations were sent, the dress was ready, the flowers were ordered, her entire future was mapped out. And then in one conversation, it all came crashing down. Marshawn could have numbed it. She could have pushed through and married him anyway. Lord knows the social pressure was real. The sunk costs were astronomical. But she didn't. She called off the wedding. She chose herself. She honored her worth and her boundaries even when it hurt like hell. And then she did the hardest thing. She turned inward spiritually. She deepened her relationship with God through prayer, journaling, and self reflection. She asked herself who she was beyond titles, beyond relationships, beyond external achievements. Her life had looked perfect from the outside, but that betrayal cracked her wide open. It exposed deeper misalignment and unresolved emotional needs. And that painful disruption became what she now calls a split rock moment, a painful crack that God uses to reveal your true calling. Marshawn didn't skip the pain. She didn't pretend it didn't hurt. She let God into the wound and He turned it into a ministry. Today, Marshawn is a best selling author and a highly sought after speaker on calling and purpose. She built a coaching and events business that helps women identify their purpose map and see major disruptions as divine redirections. She later married a supportive partner and became a mother, but from a place of healed identity and clarity of purpose. Marshawn's story reframes heartbreak and failed relationships as catalysts for discovering a deeper, God given purpose. Her teachings directly serve Black women professionals and entrepreneurs navigating success, disappointment, and calling. She models how to let God turn relational pain into a purpose that impacts thousands. That's what Amanda Coleman is challenging you to do. Stop running, stop numbing, stop pretending. Book the therapy appointment, join the grief support group, talk honestly with a pastor or trusted elder. Tell the truth about your addiction, your depression, your unresolved grief. Write down the one area of your life where you know you're still bleeding, unprocessed grief, addiction, shame, burnout, and then commit to one concrete action in the next 72 hours to address it. No more numbing, no more hiding. Invite God into the ugliest part of your story so He can turn it into purpose. And here's the third truth the one that will shift everything. Your purpose is bigger than you. Your story is someone else's survival guide. You are not going through this just to say, I survived. You're going through it so someone else doesn't die in the same pit you crawled out of. Turning pain into purpose means serving others from your scars, not your open wounds, especially for Black professionals and entrepreneurs who are called to build, lead, and create from a place of wholeness and not burnout and brokenness. Let me introduce you to Dion Jones. His journey includes incarceration, trauma, and starting over. He faced the stigma that comes with having a criminal record, especially as a Black man. Reentry was brutal. Rebuilding life, finding work, regaining trust in himself, and from society after prison, it was all uphill. The emotional and psychological weight from past decisions, losses, and the fear that he might never outrun his history was crushing. But Dayon made a choice. He embraced personal accountability and spiritual growth during and after incarceration. He shifted from survival mode to purpose mode. He engaged in community work, sharing his story as a way to reach others facing similar obstacles, particularly young Black men at risk of following the same path. He aligned his life with service and advocacy, using his past as the foundation for mentoring and inspiration rather than something to hide. Today, his story is a source of inspiration, a living example that your beginning is not your ending. Dayon's narrative offers hope to people with records, grief, or major life mistakes, showing that God can still write a powerful after to a painful before. His lived experience now encourages others to pursue healing, growth, and purpose centered decisions. He offers a concrete example for listeners who feel too far gone because of prison, addiction, or trauma. He normalizes second chances and faith led transformation in the Black community. That's what Amanda Coleman is living out. That's what you're being called to. Your pain is not just about you, your healing is not just for you. Your purpose is tied to someone else's freedom. When you let God turn your pain into purpose, you become a lifeline for someone who's drowning in the same waters you almost drowned in. So here's what I want you to do differently after hearing Amanda Coleman's story today. Stop pretending you're fine and take one bold step toward healing the pain you've been running from. That might mean booking a therapy appointment this week. It might mean joining a grief support group. It might mean talking honestly with a pastor or a trusted elder. It might mean finally telling the truth about your addiction, your depression, or your unresolved grief. Write down the one area of your life where you know you're still bleeding, and then commit to one concrete action in the next 72 hours to address it. The call is simple and direct. No more numbing, no more hiding. Invite God into the ugliest part of your story so He can turn it into purpose. And here's how I want you to feel right now: uncomfortable but seen, like someone finally said out loud what you've been too scared to admit. Called out and called higher, convicted about where you're avoiding healing, but also energized that God has not counted you out. Spiritually awake, alert to the idea that your pain might actually be a signal, not a sentence. And after this episode, that I want you to feel hopeful, truly believing, maybe for the first time, that your current situation is not the end of your story. Empowered, feeling like you have permission to seek help, set boundaries, rest, and pursue purpose without guilt. Determined, ready to do the hard, messy work of healing because you now see that your purpose, your children's future, and your communities depend on it. Amanda Coleman's story is not just her story, it's a mirror, it's a message, it's a mandate. God turns pain into purpose, but only if you let Him, only if you stop running, only if you get radically honest about your trauma and invite Him into it. Your deepest pain is not proof that God forgot you, it's often the raw material of your purpose. Healing is not optional if you want to walk in your purpose. You must face what you've been running from, and your purpose is bigger than you. Your story is someone else's survival guide. So here's my final word to you today. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are not disqualified. God doesn't waste wounds. He repurposes them. He redeems them. He turns them into platforms, into ministries, into movements. Amanda Coleman is living proof. Sarah Jakes Roberts is living proof. Marshawn Evans Daniels is living proof. Dion Jones is living proof. And you, yes, you are next. Stop hiding your pain. Stop pretending you're fine. Stop numbing out. God is waiting to turn your pain into purpose, but you have to let Him in. You have to do the work. You have to face what you've been running from. And when you do, when you finally let God into the ugliest part of your story, that's when the magic happens. That's when the purpose becomes clear. That's when your life becomes the survival guide someone else desperately needs. But here's the truth nobody tells you: this isn't just about feeling better, this isn't just about personal peace. This is about generational liberation. This is about breaking cycles that have been running in your family for decades. This is about your children, your nieces, your nephews, your community watching you choose healing over hiding and learning that they can do the same. This is about you becoming the ancestor your descendants will thank God for, the one who said enough, the one who chose differently, the one who let God turn the pain into purpose so that everyone who came after could walk a little lighter, breathe a little easier, and live a little freer. So I'm asking you right now, what are you going to do with your pain? Are you going to keep burying it? Are you going to keep running from it? Or are you going to hand it over to God and watch Him turn it into something so beautiful, so powerful, so purposeful that you'll look back one day and thank Him for every tear, every wound, every moment you thought would destroy you? Your story is not over. Your purpose is not canceled. Your pain is not wasted. God is waiting. The world is waiting. And someone out there is waiting for you to step into your healing so they can find theirs. Now go. Go face the pain. Go do the work. Go let God turn it into purpose. Your story is just beginning.